Okay, so let me ask about your boyhood memories of Santa Fe growing up.
Well, that's a funny thing because, growing up in Santa Fe, you have to understand that I was a gringo. You
Okay.
know, I'm a white boy,
Yeah.
and here I'm living in a predominantly Mexican community,
Uh-huh.
or Spanish American as we called them in those days. And from what I understand, Santa Fe was 95% Hispanic, or that's what they say now, but we called them Spanish Americans.
Okay.
Okay, now, uh, when I first started school, you go to usually you go to kindergarten. Well, they didn't call it kindergarten there, they called it pre-primer.
Hmm. Okay.
And it was a little school, not more than, I don't know, 5 or 6 blocks from where we lived. And yeah, Merrill had already started, so I went to school with him, and I went to pre-primer. And if my memory is correct, I stayed in that pre-primer for 3 weeks. Now, the whole reason for this was to make sure that you could speak English.
Oh, interesting.
Now, the Spanish speaking people that went to school at that time were required to learn English prior to going to the first grade.
Interesting.
And so, being that I didn't even know Spanish, I didn't have to stay there very long. Went right to the first grade, like I said, about 2 or 3 weeks.
Uh-huh.
And then we went, I remember still, I think my first grade teacher was Mrs. Johnson. My second grade teacher was Mrs. Rodriguez. And I really can't remember the third grade teacher, but the first two I do. And the fourth grade, I think that Alvord school only went to the fourth grade.
Oh, no kidding.
So the fifth and sixth grades were at schools that were right next to the junior high called Alvord and Gormley.
Oh, okay.
So what happened there is Merrill had to go to, I don't remember whether it's whether it was Gormley or Wood that he went to. But at any rate, he didn't want to go by himself, or my mother didn't want us to go by ourselves. So, hey, you go together. So that they enrolled me in one of the schools too,
Oh, wow.
for my fourth grade,
Okay.
which I could have stayed in Alvord, but anyway, I went over there.
Uh-huh.
And more, I think if my memory is right now, Gormley was the first, second, third, and fourth, and then Wood was fifth and sixth. And then the seventh, eighth, and ninth was across the street in Harrington Junior High School,
Interesting.
which we also went to.
Okay.
At any rate, that's what happened in that phase there.
What about any cousins or other relatives going to the same school, or was it just you and Merrill? Or?
I think it was just Merrill and I going to the schools.
Oh, really?
I don't recall where Elaine and Laurie went to school, even though they lived with us for a while.
Oh, okay. Huh.
And, that was when, by the time we had the 6-room house, or five rooms and a porch.
Uh-huh.
And how they got my Aunt Hazel and Uncle Bob and their 2 kids, Elaine and Lori, and my
Right.
mom and dad and Merrill and I in this one house. But we were there.
Yeah.
And one of the things I remember, one time I don't know why Elaine and I were there by ourselves, but where Lori and Merrill were, but our mothers went to town shopping.
Okay.
And Elaine and I found a jar of honey and a jar of peanut butter. And we mixed them and we ate the whole jar. And I still don't like honey. Peanut butter is not bad, but we mixed it and put it on bread. And I don't know how much bread we ate. But anyway, neither one of us felt very good
I
that
bet.
night.
Did you get in trouble?
Yeah, I think the trouble we got into was the way we felt.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't remember being anything more than probably scolded.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, like I said, we felt worse than, any kind of reprimand could have done. So.
What do you remember about your mom during your boyhood?
Well, I mean, she was always there. I could talk to her, and she was easy to talk to.
Oh, really? Okay.
And I never had any,
Did she
couple of
tell a lot?
times I got in trouble, but
Did she tell a lot of stories about family or growing up, or?
well, I don't remember that
Yeah.
much of it, and also my dad, I don't remember. I think when I heard more stuff was when everybody would get together on a holiday or something like that,
Okay.
which would be my two aunts, Aunt Hazel and Aunt Ozella, and then there would be 6 kids by that time.
Was that the typical gathering place, that house, or did you go to
Well,
Hazel's house
we'd
for
go
holidays?
to I think at first it was always the house on Oñate, my house,
Okay.
but later on, when Ozella moved down the street, then we'd go down there, and then Hazel moved in, bought a new house. Hazel and Bob bought a new house up on, off of, on the road to Fort Marcy, which was up above Santa Fe, more or less. It was
Okay.
up there, and I guess Hazel was a nurse at the St. Vincent's Hospital, and Bob had his own barbershop on the plaza. So
Okay. So there was a time when all 3 sisters lived in Santa Fe.
in Santa Fe, yeah.
I didn't realize that Ozella lived down the street at one point.
Yeah, and Lester was a butcher at what the heck was it? Big market downtown. And like I said, Bob was had his own barber shop. I think he owned it. I'm not sure. Maybe he only worked there.
Uh-huh.
But he was the lead barber, and I'd get free haircuts.
Oh, okay. Great.
And things like that I remember. But
And how often was Jesse Wofford around? Was he visiting a lot or working on the house a lot, or not much?
Probably in the days when I was old enough to be running around town on my own, I don't recall him being around. And then Hazel and Bob